Great. So I want to welcome everyone to our 7th Jewish Voice for Peace, Health and Human Rights webinar. And we will be talking with Zayed Abbas Shamrouk, who's the Executive Director of the Middle East Children's Alliance. And he's going to be speaking on the status of children in Gaza. It's very exciting, more than 150 people registered, so I hope people are going to be signing in and getting on the call very soon. And this webinar is going to explore the realities of the siege of Gaza for the 1 million children who are living there. As many of you know, we do a webinar about every 3 months, and I just want to give people a heads up that December 4th, we're going to be talking with Dr. Mads Gilbert, who's an amazing Norwegian surgeon who's done extraordinary work in Gaza, and he's also a very dynamic speaker. And he really lives the idea that medicine and research can be a force for activism, which is part of what we all believe. So today we have some goals. One is to provide a very up-to-date educational experience on a health and human rights issue. And we try to do it on topics that are usually not covered in the mainstream media. We're also trying to link JVP members and friends with professionals and activists both locally and internationally. And we'll have a forum for questions and answers later. And we also want to stimulate you to become more politically active and hopefully to join the Health Advisory Council. So my name is Alice Rothschild. I'm on the steering committee. And as I said, we're going to be joined today by Zayed Abbas Shamrouk, who's going to be speaking to us. So what's going to happen is that both he and I are the only people who have our mics on. Everybody else is muted, but you'll have a chance at the end to ask the questions. Tali Ben Daniel from JVP National is on the call in case we have some technological meltdown. And you'll all be receiving a survey after the webinar, and we really look forward to your comments and suggestions. We do take them seriously. And this is all going to be recorded and posted on YouTube. We'll also send out a link in case people missed it or want to share it with their friends. So I'm going to introduce Zayed, then he's going to speak for 30 minutes. And while he's talking, and also during the Q&A, if you have questions, what you do is you hover over the chat box, which is at the bottom right of your screen. And if you click on it, then you can just type in your question. And I will be monitoring the questions and putting them together and then asking him directly. And so that feel free to use the chat box throughout the presentation, because there are too many people to make everybody unmuted. If you have comments or questions, after the webinar, put it in the survey, and please put your phone number or your email if you want us to be back in touch with you. And then there's going to be 20 minutes for the Q&A and then a little wrap up. So is Zayed here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, fabulous. So I'm going to do your introduction. Hello.
Yes.
So Zayed Abbas Shamrouk is the Executive Director of the Middle East Children's Alliance. He's a Palestinian refugee from the Dheisheh refugee camp in the West Bank. He's the co-founder of the Ibda Cultural Center in Dheisheh. He's also a filmmaker, a journalist, and an educator who has worked on several, with Palestinian and international media and has participated in the production of several documentary films. He was the co-producer and production manager of Promises, which I remember, the very pivotal movie for me many years ago. And when this was nominated for an Academy Award in 2002. He completed his Master of Arts in Social Justice and International Relations from the World Learning School for International Graduate Institute. And that's his introduction. He seems to have just walked away. So here he's back again. So Zayed, the stage is yours, and I will give you 30 minutes to do your presentation, and I'll give you a 5-minute warning.
Oh my God, that's nice. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. How many people we have online?
Well, there are more than 150 signed up. Right now, we got 27 and counting. So excellent. People tend to sign up.
Thank you so much, everyone. As you said about me, my name is Zayed Abbas. I was born and grew up in the Dheisheh refugee camp. I moved to the United States 11 years ago, so I'm working here in Mecca for a while. And by the way, guys, it's really very hot here in the office. In California today, it's very hot. It's almost like 95 degrees. But anyway, I will manage. I moved to California 11 years ago, and usually I say to the people, I feel I am very privileged to be in the United States.
Could you put your mic a little closer to your mouth so we can hear you better?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, maybe talk a little slower.
Okay. I feel I am privileged as Palestinian living here for 2 reasons. One, The main reason is I can shower every day. I can have water every day. I used to shower 1 time a week when I was working, living in the refugee camp. And my mom, she used to carry the water in her head every day to bring it for us. And this is something like all the time reminds me how much I'm privileged, especially when I talk with my colleagues in Gaza Strip or West Bank, even in Lebanon these days. The second reason I feel I'm privileged because I can drive and I can move. In Palestine, it's not something easy. And there is two privileges because it's related to our representation. One of the main issues in Gaza Strip is the water issue, how much the people they face a problem with water. Everything is clear. Can you hear me very well?
Just talk loudly and slowly.
Good. I will try. I will try to share with you guys my, I will share my PowerPoint. Is it there?
I don't
see it.
No.
Okay. Can you see it now?
No.
So,
Can you see it?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Thad, if you look at the scroll, hover over the bottom of your screen, you should see a little green square that says share.
Yeah, I clicked it. It's
click,
there.
and then you'll be able to select from the window, and then I think you have to click share one more time, and then it will start happening.
I'll do it again. I share.
And then just select whichever window you have the PowerPoint in right now.
Okay.
And then you should be able to have, I think you have to click share one more time. Like there's a little button that says share.
Yeah, I clicked twice.
And then there's a blue button at the bottom corner.
Can you share it now?
That should be able to do that.
Share.
Here we are. We have got,
we did it.
It is now working.
Excellent.
Okay, we are going to speak about Gaza Strip. How many, some of you visited Gaza Strip maybe?
Mm-hmm. I have, yeah.
Yes. Just to remind the people, you can see the mouse. My mouse is moving. Just want to remind the people, this is Gaza Strip. We have 2 million people living on 139 square miles. And as you see, Gaza is surrounded by 6 gates, if you can count them. 5 gates, it's controlled by the Israelis, and 1 gate, this one you can see, is controlled by the Egyptians. So when we speak about the movement in Gaza Strip, you have 2 million stuck inside this, what we call it, open prison on air, the biggest open prison on air, because you have military ships 24 hours controlling the sea. So the people of Gaza, they don't have any choice to leave Gaza only through the major checkpoints, which is called air checkpoints, or through Rafah. And right now, most of the people, they try to travel to Rafah. This morning, I was talking with some friends, which they told me the list is still over 25,000 people. Every day, when the border is open, like few hundreds they can travel, and few hundreds can come in Gaza. The other point is very, for us here, is the 56% of the people living in Gaza, they are children below 18 years old. So the majority of the people living in Gaza Strip, they are children. And when we speak about the siege, and here I'm going to the second slide, it's not going, sorry guys. Anyway, I'll try to go back and check it. Oh, even I can't see my presentation. Something.
I think you might be, is it?
There it is. We got it.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yes.
Oh. When we speak about like what's going on in Gaza, you have the siege started in July 2007 on Gaza, and on the siege, and right now it's almost over 12 years. But this is part of the system where the discrimination against Palestinian people. And me personally, I had the opportunity to visit South Africa, and I visited the townships in South Africa in 1994, 2 months after Mandela won the election. And completely the similarity between both sides, how the people they used to live in the townships. And for me, as a Palestinian refugee, I grew up in refugee camps. And this is just to keep it in our mind that the Israelis or the Israeli government, when they target the Palestinian, it's part of their colonial policy to discriminate against the people in Gaza. And here, one of the main issues is the water issue in Gaza. I will move to the other slide. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Fine.
When we speak about the discrimination, you can see how much Palestinian they can access water. And you have Palestinian, they can access only 73 liters per day. And the WHO minimum standard that the people, they need 100 liters a day. But here, Israelis, they can access 240 to 300 liters a day. And when I speak about water, water is one of the big issues in Gaza. It's one of the major problems, I can say right now. And we in Middle East Children's Alliance, we work, we try to react to reduce the impact of the fact that the people in Gaza, they can't access clean water. And you can see the water, how much it's polluted in Gaza. And if you look, the nitrates, the U.S. National Drinking Water Standard is 10 milligram in the liter, 50 milligram the WHO, but you can see in Gaza 330 milligram. This is the nitrate, this is the pollution in the water. This is why United Nations, they spoke about that 2020, it will be the 2020 Gaza will be out of the clean water. And right now, according to the United Nations and many other human rights organizations, they spoke about 97% of the Gaza water is polluted. It's undrinkable water. And this is impact the health situation in Gaza. At the same time, I chose this slide actually just I want to share it with you that it's coming a testimony from the through Beit Salem, where soldiers. This is actually one of the photos that reminds me in my refugee camp. It's not the people they can't access the clean water. Even when they make their efforts and work hard to get the clean water to their homes, Israelis sometimes they target the water tanks. And all over Palestine, if you visit Palestine in villages, towns, cities, in Gaza Strip, people all the time try to keep the clean water in the roof of the houses. You have these water tanks spread all over Gaza. And sometimes these water tanks targeted by the Israelis. And this photo actually, this slide, it's from Mustan. As we said, it's a Gaza Strip, it's the siege. It's one of the major problems in Gaza Strip. Just want to remind the people, Gaza was under attack in 2008, 2009, in 2012, and in 2014. It impacted the people and still the people, especially since 2014 until now, they couldn't handle many basic issues they need in their daily life, especially the water and the electricity in Gaza. But Israelis, they use different kind of weapons in their attack. It impacted them, destroyed their houses, and many people, we have around 30,000 people, they're still living far, or they lost their houses in 2014, but they are living in caravans, and some of them, they are living with relatives or they're rented apartments. People still, like in that period, actually, after 2014, many people, you can look here how many houses they were destroyed around, but people, they were living in refugee camps. Now, when we speak about the water issue, you can see the impact, how water and sewage system, the infrastructure in Gaza Strip, it was destroyed totally, and impact the water system in Gaza. Sewage system all over Gaza Strip, and this is where 97% it's impact the situation. In addition to that, as you see in this photo, in this slide, now because the infrastructure is destroyed, the sewage system is destroyed totally. And right now, even until today, I was speaking this morning because I was preparing for this presentation, still the sewage system, they bombed the sewage system toward the Mediterranean Sea. So most of the beach in Gaza Strip is polluted. People, they are not allowed to access the beach because of the pollution. Even there were other reports actually came from Israel that some cities close to Israel, especially in Ashkelon, that the beach there is polluted too as a result of the sewage system. And why the sewage system bumped to the sea? Because they are not allowed to use the building material to fix the infrastructure in Gaza and to protect the sewage system, to keep those sewage system functioning in Gaza. And this is in fact another reason why the aquifer is polluted, because part of that, as you see here, the sea level in Gaza Strip, it's higher than the aquifer. The water from the sea sometimes return back and impact the aquifer. They get the water from the sea to the aquifer, which the water in the sea is already polluted. And the major two issues that the people in Gaza they face, which will impact their health situation. First, the electricity. You see this slide? Mm-hmm. How many hours where the people they can get the electricity and during the day. And imagine yourself, you are working between 4 to 6 hours a day, you have electricity. Of course, hospitals and people, they can afford generators, they can get the electricity more than the rest of the people in Gaza Strip. But in general, even with our staff members, we have 3 staff members working in Gaza. One of them, she's a physician. One of them, she's a nutritionist. And one of them, she's an engineer working with the water project. Even to communicate with us, most of the time they wait for the electricity. They will get the electricity so they can communicate, write their reports, send us the emails, the photos, etc. And for the rest of the people in Gaza, they are facing this in their daily life. One of the projects we work in Mecca, it's called Gaza Lights, where some engineers, most of them women, they succeed to develop this system where they can store the power for more hours. When they get the electricity for between 4 to 6 hours, they can store the power for another 8 hours to 10 hours for the basic service. Like they can have lights in their homes, and they can have lights in the bathroom. And so far, we work with this. We succeed with 1,535 families where they have this kind of system right now in Gaza. And we have around 200 families, they have the solar panel. They use the solar panel to store the power so they can access. Among them, 27 families, actually, they have children. They need to charge the equipment to treat their children inside their houses. So they try to help with the power. The same with water system, with the water issue. People, not everyone can access clean water in Gaza Strip. And this is another project. I'll speak about it later. This is the main statement came from United Nations and from many human rights that 2020, which is a few months for 2020, Gaza Strip, it will be out of clean water. A human being cannot live and survive in Gaza Strip. Now, when we speak about water and related to the health situation, there is a study show that 1% of young deaths are caused by diarrhea, which it is easily coming from the dirty water, and it impacts the children. We are 2019, but still, when you have this big number, 12% among young deaths, children may be dying from diarrhea. It's a huge issue. And this is where we deal with Gaza Strip as it's emergency for us. We need to build water systems in schools, and this is one of the major projects we do in Gaza. That Mecca, we build we built so far 54 systems in United Nations schools where children, they can access water, clean water, try to help them with that. I will speak later, maybe during the Q&A, about what we do exactly. But here I try to just focus to clarify what's going on in Gaza. And this is a photo, like I got it a few days from Gaza, and it's the increase in kidney disease. It impacts the people a lot in Gaza Strip. We will speak later about more about the disease, what they have in Gaza, and especially the chronic disease. Here they have what we call it is dangerous. It's really very dangerous in Gaza. It's blue baby syndrome. It's related to the pollution in the water. Everyone can hear me well, guys?
Just talk loudly.
Really? More?
Yeah.
Okay, I will try. So the blue baby syndrome, it's a big issue in Gaza Strip and impact many children. And this is coming as a result of the pollution in the water. And many children back, and some children, they lost their lives from this kind of disease. I love this slide because it reminds me with myself. I grew up in a refugee camp. As I said, I used to shower one time a week because we can't access clean water. And even children in Gaza, they are without childhood, where they find themselves, they need to help. And you can see in this slide, more children, they access try to get the water to their families. We saw this, something wrong. Anyway, I can't continue with my slides. No, it's okay. So, I want to go back just a little bit to the major thing about the health situation. Can you see the slide or you can see me?
I think you need to click on the next one. Should it say when lights go off? Or do you want the next one?
Can you see this one?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the systems where we build the clean water in Gaza Strip. And sorry, I'm going back. I'm going back to the main slide. Sorry, this is about it. Just want to remind you, the people right now, when we speak about Gaza and especially speak about all this area, the Gaza Strip. Sorry. Yeah. Oh. So, are you there, guys?
No.
You lost me?
Your slide went away.
Okay, I will get it back.
I think if you stop sharing and then start sharing again, it might be. Oh, look, never mind.
Okay.
It seems like it's
slide
working.
here.
You have a slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're looking
I'll
at.
try to throw some information to you about Gaza. In all Gaza, we have 10 major hospitals, and you have 54 clinics in all over Gaza. And these clinics treating the 2 million people. And sometimes last report is coming, and here I have it. Some of the reports I have it in Arabic language in front of me, and I'm looking to it like 52% of the medicine needed in Gaza is missing. So these are the last reports coming from Gaza Strip related about medicine. One of the things we do in Gaza Strip, we try in Mecca and a few other organizations, I can say in the United States, where we try to send medical shipments. And it's a huge challenge for us to get our medical shipments to Gaza. And the last medical shipment, we succeed to get it in Egypt and transfer it to Gaza. It took from us over 3 months. And this medical shipment is only medicine that the hospitals and the clinics in Gaza requested from us, specific medicine. It took 3 months and a half almost to succeed to bring it to the people in Gaza. Now it's got it there, and they got it, and it's distributed to the people. But this will not cover, and this is why we say we receive this kind of reports, like 52% of the medicine is missed in Gaza Strip, and still they are looking to get this kind of medicine to the people in Gaza Strip. Last year alone, because people, they couldn't access medicine, 56 people died in 2018. And in 2019, they expect the cases, it will grow up more and more in Gaza. When we speak about chronic disease, actually, in Gaza Strip, and here I'm looking to some reports, it speaks about the cancer. Cancer in Gaza, just I will throw some statistics to you. We have 8,515 people, they are suffering from cancer. And the majority of them, 55% of them, they are women. And these people, like, they can't access whatever they need to treat cancer in Gaza. And still cancer, it's the second, the cause of death in Palestine. In general, cancer is the second one. Palestinian people, many people, they are suffering from cancer in all over Palestine. But here we speak about Gaza Strip. It's a huge number, 8,515 people suffering, and most of them, the majority, 55% of them, they are women. The number of women actually they are suffering from cancer, 4,705, and it's different kind of cancer. The problem sometimes these people, they need medicine, they need chemotherapy, they need a specific medicine, they can't access it. Even the chemotherapy, they can't access it in a very productive way. And some of them, sometimes they need to apply for permits to go to other hospitals in West Bank. I'm not speaking about they transfer them to hospitals where it's really a good hospitals inside Israel. I'm speaking about hospitals in West Bank. But you have 38% of the people, they applied for permits from the Israeli authority to go to hospitals in Gaza, to hospitals in West Bank. Their application denied, and therefore the Israelis, they refused to give them permits. And some of these cases actually they died. Among them, even you have children. You have some children, they are suffering from cancer and they can't travel. We have in Gaza Strip 608 children, they are suffering from cancer. And some of these children, they need urgent treatment. And we have the last case, actually, there were many reports. I don't know, maybe some of you read this kind of reports. This report actually succeeded to reach to the international media, where this girl, they allowed her to travel, but they denied the permits for her parents. And that girl, she traveled alone to the hospital in West Bank, and after a few days, this girl actually died, lost her life, was late. And still many others, they are waiting in the list to get the permission and to get to Gaza. So the free movement and where the people, they need to access, they don't have enough medicine inside Gaza. Even if they apply to go to leave Gaza, 38% they don't succeed to get the permits to travel to Gaza, and they are stuck inside Gaza Strip. Other chronic disease, actually, it's the diabetic, and this is a huge, actually bigger than the cancer in Gaza. You have like 60,000 people, they need the treatment on a daily basis for diabetes. And these people, they need like regular checking, and some of them, they are facing huge problems because they don't have the medicine they need it. And it's a bigger threat, and it's really very risky for them. The other issue is in Gaza right now, it's growing up. Then the nutrition in Gaza Strip and the impact of on children and on young people, that they don't receive the healthy food, that they don't grow up in a normal way, accessing a healthy food in their daily life. And this is actually one of the new projects, I can say, last 2 years, we are working really, try to keep on it. We are trying to keep support kindergartens to access healthy food. We got many reports about like in schools where girls sometimes they collapse. Not every child in Gaza Strip they can access a breakfast, and if they have the breakfast, it's not necessary it's a healthy with a healthy food. And some of the children actually they can access chips when they go to the school. The food they can access in the school it's chips, and chips is not something will give them to build their immune system and to grow up. And this is impact them and impact their brain. And right now, actually, we have this huge demands coming from different parts of Gaza Strip where they try to help the children to access a clean, healthy food. We try as much as we can, and recently, the last project we are decide to work with, we have like 500 children, their age between 5 to 7 in preschools, where we try to offer them every day when they go to school, at least they will have a healthy meal. So it will help them. And this is like weakening the immune system for children, and it will impact their brain in the future, and they will not be healthy. In Gaza. Now, I don't know how much time. Yeah, exactly. I'm coming. I can spend time, and you can go. You have many reports online, and you can have a lot of studies showing that. You have reports coming from the WHO. You have reports coming through UN showing how much miserable situation. But people in Gaza, they are not just sit down there and they are crying and asking, please help us. They take their own initiatives. And these initiatives, actually, it's really very important and need a support. And this support, I can say, like all the time, we try to respond to these calls coming from people in Gaza. You have doctors in Gaza. I remember there are nurses, like there are a couple of nurses, like they decided they have extra time after they work in the hospitals. They took this initiative where every Friday, you know about Gaza March, every Friday since March 30th, 2018 until today, every Friday where the people, they go protest on the fence surrounding Gaza Strip. I don't call it borders, it's not a border, it's a fence. It's in Gaza land, it's not in the border of Gaza Strip, actually, it's inside Gaza Strip. And these nurses, actually, they go and they go try to help the people. They are injured, which last Friday we have like 73 people, they were injured in a few hours. And the number of the people they were killed in Gaza since this march started in March 30th, 2018, is close to 300 right now. And you have hundreds of people, they are suffering from disability. This is another report, another presentation about the people they lost their legs, like they lost their legs, feet, hands. And most of them they are young people, and this is one of the issues actually going. The Palestinian preparing, and some of the human rights prepared the report about to take it to the international court, how the Israelis, they are targeting the Palestinian children and young people, where this disability increasing in Gaza, and these people, they need a lot of support and a lot of I call it daily support in their daily life, and even some of them, they need to change their houses so they can access, they can move around. Other big issue Gaza Strip is suffering, which the people, they don't speak about it. It's the mental health issue, where children are actually suffering a lot, even since 2014. And still, actually, we have this project since 2008 and 9 attack. Until now, we continue with it. Every year, we renew it and working in different parts of Gaza. It's called the Play and Heal, because the impact of these kind of attacks, the impact in Gaza Strip and children and young people in Gaza Strip is huge, where children, their age 11, 12 years, they still be on themselves inside their beds. children, they don't feel interested in schools, and they try to drop the schools because the impact of the whole situation for them. And we've tried through this project. There are a lot of things we can do as people, as individuals, and as groups. And this is where I encourage the listeners of this presentation, where they try to help and contribute and support. First, I will ask the people to raise awareness about what's going on in Gaza. And Gaza Strip, like, I believe that the explosion is coming in Gaza. I mean, the explosion is that the people, they cannot take it anymore. They are almost over 12 years of the siege. If you have a child who was born in July 2007, now they are almost 12 years old. And you have children, people, their age 27, 28 years old, they never have been outside Gaza Strip. It means they are stuck in 139 square miles. And where people, they need to raise more awareness about this and try to change and end the siege on the people in Gaza. Second, there are many initiatives and projects. There are many other organizations, they work in Gaza. I'm not saying only Mecca. We have many projects. You can go to our website and visit our projects. We work in different areas and try to respond. And other organizations, people, they need to come and try to support, because these projects and support and solidarity to be with people in Gaza, it will not end the suffering. I'm honest with you. But at least we try to reduce the impact. When we try to help the children and support children sometimes to build a playground or to support a mental health program through arts and through dance and through music, we try to let the children to taste the childhood, because the children in Gaza Strip without a childhood. And there are projects, water projects, other projects related to music projects for children in Gaza. There's the nutrition system where you can help the children to access healthy food. And you have, of course, the Gaza Lights, and you have the women projects. They are amazing women, and I'm so proud. Most of the staff members in Gaza, they are women, here or in Palestine. And most of the projects we are working in Gaza, they are women, and they are very, very creative. And they come with amazing ideas to work with children and to help their own community. These supports and initiatives need solidarity, and this is why I ask everyone to keep it in your mind and to keep it where you can help and support.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So are you ready so we could open it up for a Q&A? So I hope people will write in the chat box any questions they have. There is one question that's not really about children, but I'll just say it now because it's the only thing in the chat box.
Yes.
A man from Gaza had a tear gas canister lodged in his mouth, knocking most of his teeth out and burning his lungs. And he was taken to the West Bank for treatment. Do you know anything about his situation?
There are some people, I don't have about his situation specifically, but if anyone interested, I will give you my email and send it to us. We can update you.
Okay.
There are many cases, they are already treated, they are already right now in the West Bank, and some other cases that succeed to travel through Egypt to get medicine. But these people, they are facing major. They succeed. I call them, they are lucky. But you have many other cases. Their permits denied. They cannot travel to West Bank, and the Egyptian, they didn't allow them to travel.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk about the impact of the defunding of UNRWA, and I think USAID also defunded in terms of both refugee care for children and care of children in general in Gaza? What is there any research on that? Because it's new.
Yeah, I want to say, like, United States, they stopped funding. It's not just funding UNRWA, the $360 million where UNRWA received from United States every year. And there are the USAID, it's separate, it's not just UNRWA. They work with UNDP, some other departments related to United Nations, and they work with local communities, and they work with Palestinian Authority government, and they work with many projects, which they pulled out. There were even some projects in the roads in some cities. They left the roads open and they stopped doing the work. The impact of stop the funds of UNRWA, it's huge in United Nations, and it's huge in the services. But the last report, we, as Mecca Middle Eastern Alliance, we work with the United Nations. All our water systems built on Gaza, it's in United Nations schools. And United Nations should be funded from governments, not from people. I am saying this in very clear way. Because UNRWA, when it was started in actually the decision, it was in December 1949. The implementation, UNRWA start their services in May 1st, 1950. It was started and established in the United Nations as a special agency to relieve the Palestinian refugees. And the funds coming from different governments, and the main donor for this, the UNRWA, is United States of America. And right now, I know the UNRWA people, they try to secure the coming year. But the impact is huge, because many people, they try to respond to the cut on the UNRWA budget, especially in the United States, people as individuals, and they try to support UNRWA. And this has impacted many other organizations, they do the services. The impact, it's in the education level, in the health situation. The majority of the people in Gaza, they are run by United Nations. They are dependent on United Nations. And by cut this, many people like medicine, it can impact the people in hospitals and in clinics run by United Nations, the schools, the education, it impacts them a lot. We work in schools, you have 2 shifts in the same school. In each shift, they have like 1,200 students. They go to school from 7 o'clock to 12 o'clock at noon. And the second shift, it goes from 12:30 until 5:30 to school. And in each classroom, imagine you have some classrooms, you have 55 students in the classroom. They cannot hire more teachers because the lack of funds, they cannot hire more teachers to teach and to expand the classrooms or to expand the schools. Yeah, the impact is huge. And this is another way to put the pressure on Palestinian people to dilute the right of return for Palestinian refugees. This is one. Second, it's another pressure to put it in Palestinian to accept the fact that there is no possibility to have their own state. Third, it's another, and the major one, I can say, the third one, but it's the major one, it's to end the refugees issue. There is no need for UNRWA, and by finish the UNRWA war, it means no need for refugees. And the refugees, they are living in refugee camps in Lebanon and in Jordan and Syria. They are not refugees anymore. They will get other kind of funds to the governments in Jordan and Lebanon, and no need to handle the issue of the refugees or to keep the refugee issue part of the negotiation with Palestine.
Oh, that's very depressing. There's a comment here, you talked about how the water in Gaza is contaminated. And when I was there, they were talking about how there's an increase in osteoporosis in children because of the chloride and the nitrate,
yes,
the and the mechanism. And so one person asks if there are any studies going on to monitor the contaminants in the blood or urine of children and adults due to the contaminated water.
No, there is no study covering all of Gaza, but we do some studies, like as much as we can. We are not a big agency. Like we have with our staff, with our volunteers, with other clinics, because we work with the clinics and the hospitals, we try to check on children. We see the impact of children that they have a clean water in Gaza. The impact of the pollution and the nitrate in the water, it's coming less and less because they can access clean water. The problem is we have right now 54 schools, they can access clean water every day, all the time when the children, they are in school. But in all Gaza Strip, you have 275 schools. So you have almost 225, almost 220 schools. Not all of them, they can access clean water. But it's clear that the children in Gaza in general, and especially I can speak about marginalized communities. We speak about high poverty in Gaza. We speak almost 60% unemployment in Gaza. So the income is very limited. So the people, they can't access like healthy food, healthy vegetables, healthy, even vitamins, get to the market to get the vitamins. People, they can't access the medicine they need in their daily life. What's about vitamins and all the other needs they need? Absolutely, this will impact in Gaza. And this is actually, when you look for long term, the new generation in Gaza will be affected a lot by this kind of siege because the lack of healthy food, healthy water, and healthy environment where they live.
So there's a question about, is there any information on depleted uranium contamination in Gaza? There was a slide on water contaminants, and Jim Deutsch couldn't see the right-hand column. He said the value was 20 with 10 as the limit. Was that bottled water? And then he wants to know if you could comment on the impact of the climate crisis, heat effects, water loss, drought.
I like first about uranium and all the chemical, because we don't know exactly what the Israel they used in 2014. And sometimes we look at Gaza, and this is what the people, doctors in Gaza, especially physicians in Gaza, when they treated the EMA during the war in 2014, actually. When they came, sometimes they said we are like a lab. They feel they are inside the lab, and they are. There is experiments of different kind of weapons on people. We saw the impact of white phosphorus, the uranium, and the impact on the agriculture, where part of the land, the agricultural land in Gaza, it's not usable because it was impacted by the weapons that was used in Gaza. And we don't have a clear study. There are many organizations, even I think in England, they use some labs to analyze, but the results, we don't have a clear result actually about the uranium in Gaza Strip. I will be honest, I wish there was something where they allow to have a clear study and to check the area, to check all of Gaza Strip and to check the impact of that. But when you see high, like when you speak about over 8,500 people in Gaza with cancer, this is alarming, right? This is something like, tell you there is something going on in Gaza, and I hope soon that they will have, even UN or any other country will come to do their study and check what's going on in Gaza Strip and to find out about that. The second question is speak about the climate change. When we speak about wood, absolutely Palestine will be impacted by the climate change. But one of the main things when we speak about the water issue in Gaza, it's nothing to do with the climate change. And I'm saying this because we have enough water, Palestinian. We have enough water when we have 8 aquifers in all Palestine, historic Palestine, 4 aquifers inside Israel, 3 aquifers inside West Bank, and 1 aquifer in Gaza Strip. Now, according to United Nations, they can clean, they need like 20 years to clean the aquifer in Gaza. The only thing that the Israel is, there is a rainwater coming from the mountains, South Mountains, near Hebron Mountains. And this rain in the past used to go down, coming to Gaza Valley and go reach out to the aquifer inside Gaza. But what Israel is did, they built small dams in this water and they directed this water to go, channel this water, the rainwater to go to the aquifer inside Israel. What's going on around the water issue in Gaza, it's racism, it's discrimination. It's part of the collective punishment on the people in Gaza Strip. We have enough water in Palestine. We have other 3 aquifers in Gaza Strip, in West Bank, where it can pump the water. West Bank and Gaza Strip, it's not that far from each other. They can access the clean water. The other thing I want to say, even in West Bank, like people in summer, they suffer a lot from, they don't have a clean, they can't access water in West Bank. And me, my family, still until now, they pay for the water 3 times than the Israeli settlers they are living in this bank. It's our water. It's colonial system, friends, listeners. It's a colonial system. They come, they use our resources, they sell it back to us. And we are a market open for them, for the water issue, for the electricity, the same. So they sell us and we pay 3 times more than the settler they came living in this bank. I say this in my refugee camp, when we cannot access water every day or shower, or sometimes even access clean water to drink it during the day. And my mom and my sister and many other moms, all their generation, they used to carry the water. And me, all the time, I say, my mom, before she passed away, the muscles, her shoulders, it was like full of muscles. Because I say this joke, but it's not really joke. My mom, she participated in the world championship for bodybuilding. She will win. And all her generation. And I can say all women, not just in Palestine, actually, women in marginalized communities in Africa, in India, and different, look to their shoulders because they carry all this stuff on their head to help their children to survive. And while I was growing up in the refugee camp, I don't need to go anywhere, just I need to turn toward the settlement and the top of the hills behind my refugee camp called the Efrat settlement. And you see the Israelis, they have swimming pools and they are cleaning their cars. Even they don't have water tanks in the roof of the buildings there because they have the water 24 hours. So it's an issue of racism. And of course, the climate change will impact all the world. And many environmental issues like the Israelis using this bank to dump some of their chemical stuff, garbage, to dump it in this bank. And this is why the people sometimes, and some researchers, I can say in this time, try to show that the high number of people that cancer is related to the chemicals, garbage thrown in the West Bank and around where they are living.
Okay, I think there are 2 last questions. Both of them could be a whole, hour in itself. Can you explain how the right of return is passed from generation to generation, and also make a comment about children's mental health? And we just have about, a few minutes, so I know that's not enough time.
Yeah, right of return, actually, I can say it. Me, I am a Palestinian refugee. I was grew up in a refugee camp. My parents came from 2 villages, Zakaria village, Jerash village. And by the way, guys, my mom, she closed the house with the key. And she thought she went to the mountain near our village. And she thought when they would stop bombing the village, she would return back to their home. But they pushed them until they got to the refugee camp. Yes, the issue of right of return, it's major issue. Sometimes the people, they ask me, do you want 1 state, 2 states, 3 states? I told them I don't care about states. I care about right of return because the majority of the Palestinian people, they are refugees. The 750,000 uprooted from their villages, 531 villages in 1948, they are right now close to 8 million. And the number is huge. 2/3 of the Palestinian people, they are refugees because Palestinian people, we are almost 2 million plus people all over the world. So we are close to 8 million Palestinian refugees. Almost 6 million registered by United Nations, 2 million they are not registered. So right of return, if you speak about peace and justice, you cannot have any solution without bringing justice to these refugees. For me, for example, I say sometimes, I want to choose one time in my life where I want to live, including my village. And maybe I'll choose Berkeley or Stockholm or Boston. But maybe I will choose my village. Why I'm not allowed? Because I'm not Jewish, I can't go to live in my village? No, I have the right to go back. And right of return is individual and a collective right. Yes, it's passed from generation to new. And to be honest, the new generation, they are committed to right of return more than, because my mother generation, she was not just speaking all the time when we go back. I grew up when I hear this with my mom, my dad. I am 55 years old, guys. And I grew up, or when we go back, because it's like part of they feel it, they live it. And the new generation, even not my generation, the new generation committed to the issue of right of return more than that generation. My mom's generation, it was a survival generation. They survived the catastrophe. My generation, we moved from, I used to stand to receive food from United Nations. Look, I'm sit down here in an organization explaining to you. Yes, part of my blood, and here it's from United Nations. This is milk and the food coming from United Nations. Now, the new generation, they are very creative. They are not, most of them, standing in lines to receive food. They are very creative people. They try to go to school, get high education, and struggling for right to everything. So it's passing, like the key that my mom, she closed the house, and she thought she will return back to the house. My mom passed away, my dad passed away, my oldest sister passed away. I have the key. And to be honest with you, the key with me was here in the United States. It's not just symbolic. It's something really, it means a lot for all my family, my siblings, my nephews and nieces. All the time they check with me, with whom when I will die, with whom I will leave. And for us, this is the key, because we believe this key, we know our house is destroyed there. But for us, this is the key of the peace of the Middle East. This is the key of the peace to access justice and to access your right. The second question? Sorry.
I think we've kind of run out of time. It's about children's mental health, and kids in Gaza have so much depression and sort of ongoing trauma.
They have a lot. And please go to our website. You'll find a lot of information.
Right.
And for the people that are interested, my email is very simple: Ziad, Z-E-I-A-D @makkahforpeace.org, or just email us makkah@makkahforpeace.org. And if you have any other question, please feel free to call us, or call our phone number 510-548-0542. Feel free if you have any question. And thank you so much, everyone. And thank you,
Thank you.
And thank you, Alice. Thank you, Rod. Thank you, everyone, for organizing this.
Well, thank you so much. And I think people should know that MECA, the Middle East Children's Alliance, is a wonderful organization if you're looking for an organization to support Palestinians. So I'm just going to close with just a quick reminder for people about the Health Advisory Council. We do a lot of work, and just a quick outline. We have our monthly media watch where members of the council all contribute suggestions about what are the health and human rights violations that have happened over the past month and the documentation, and we put out a monthly report. We have a weekly human rights villain and heroine or hero, so that people are reminded about both the fortitude and creativity of Palestinians, as well as the ongoing violations. We do lots of advocacy. We've had articles in journals. We've just had our third letter to the Lancet accepted. The second and third still haven't been published, but they're actually going to come out, and we'll be sending those out when they get published. 3 of us went to the Lancet Palestine Health Alliance in Jordan, in Amman, in March, which was a really mind-boggling experience. And there's a whole series of essays in Mondoweiss about that. So there's a lot of work that the people can be involved in, and we're always looking for more things that people want to do. So if you want to get more active, please go to the website. Please sign up to join the council. Please email me. My email is on the website. And we look forward to seeing you at our next webinar, which is, as I mentioned before, is going to be, let me look up the date, is going to be December 4th with Dr. Mads Gilbert, who's the Norwegian surgeon who's done a huge amount of work in Gaza and written some very powerful, painful, poignant books on the topic. And he will be joining us, I believe, from Norway. And it should be a really interesting session. So thank you, everyone. Please fill out your survey. When the video comes out of this event, please share with your friends, because we really need to work on keeping awareness about Gaza in the forefront, because there's so many catastrophes going on in this world. We need not to forget Gaza. So thank you very much, and have a good evening. Take care, and thank you, Ziad. Thank you so much.